Is your expectations leading to frustration, you getting upset, you being unhappy? And if so, how do we deal with that? In Welcome to Car Talk, where I give you my 20 years of experience on my 20-minute drive to work. In leadership, this is something that I think a lot of us deal with because our job as leaderships is to lead everybody to success. And in order to lead everybody to success, there's certain things that we got to do and that we got to put in place and that we got to do consistently and daily in order to achieve this success. And when others don't do it and others aren't consistent, what do we do? What do we do? And here's the other thing. If others don't want the same exact success as that you're trying to get everybody to achieve, but they're totally fine in what they're achieving already, what do you do there? This is something that I deal with, and I've dealt with it forever. Like, I just, in the role that I am in, I don't know if I'll ever be happy, because I know regardless of how well we do, I know we can always do better. And I'm really trying to deal with that because for my own sanity, right? Like I'm really hard on myself. And just the other day, my buddy, my general sales manager, told me that I'm the only one that's worried about how I'm doing because everybody else knows I'm doing good. And maybe that's a special trait that I have. Maybe it's a bad trait that I have, that I put so much pressure on myself. But if I'm going to show up every single day, and I'm going to be there every day, and I'm going to be away from my family, why would I not want to maximize that time away from them? And I think that's when I really boil it down, that's what it is. Because if I had the choice to be with my family all day long or go to work, I would rather be with my family. Who wouldn't rather be with their family? So if I'm going to be away from my family, I'm maximizing the time. And I just don't understand why somebody would be away and somebody would go to a place and be there for 8 hours, 10 hours a day and not try to maximize their time. Unless being at work is more enjoyable, even without creating results, is more enjoyable than where they left. So if the home life isn't ideal, and then they come to work and work is essentially home, I guess that would make sense. So I don't know, if you deal with this as an individual and you deal with expectations of others, you see everybody else's potential, and when they're not living up to it, and the expectations that you have for these people aren't being met, how do you deal with it? How do you not let it affect your happiness? Because I've done this for a long time. I've been in leadership now for a long time, and I have a very hard time with it still. I'm getting better, but I still have a hard time with it. And then that leads me into micromanaging. Now, I think this word doesn't get tossed around like it used to. I think it got tossed around a lot. It's like, your expectation of daily tasks and daily things that should be done, and you asking to see those. That's micromanaging. But here's the thing. I think some people, they need to be micromanaged. I think some people need it because some people have a hard time staying focused. Some people overthink what they're doing. And when you overthink and you have a hard time to focus, you get nothing done. Here's something else about myself. I have sometimes a hard time focusing. I'm a really good big picture guy, and I can see the vision, and I can see like what I'm trying to get accomplished. But sometimes I got these small tasks that I just don't like because that's not the way my brain works. I have a hard time slowing down enough to see those. Now, I'll force myself to get through them if I need to. But some people, if they can't do that, if they can't slow down enough to focus, and they don't have anybody that's expecting them to show them their daily activity or progress or whatever it is, those people might fail. So is micromanaging in that point a bad thing? I don't think so. I think it's actually good, and I think some people need it. I do think the other thing, though, with us as leaders is everybody's different. Every employee that you have is different. Everybody has a little bit different motivation. Everybody has a little bit different, downfall or something that they're struggling with, or how they comprehend, or how they stay focused, how they stay motivated. But as leaders, we kind of blanket the way we lead, and we lead all of the people the exact same way. And partly this is due because when you become a leader, you did good as an individual, and you got put into the leadership role without any real training. And most people look and go, hey, if they can do it, he can do it, or she can do it just the way that they do it, and they're able to teach everybody else to do it that way and be productive like them, man, this would be a really good thing. They would make a great leader. But they don't know if you have that quality. Do you have the patience? Do you have the structure? Are you going to be able to motivate others? Like, you don't have that training, and then we get put into leadership. So sometimes I think, this whole thing that I deal with, it's so complex sometimes, and I battle with that. And I battle with that because I see other employees, and I want to make sure I'm doing the best for them. I want to make sure that I'm the best leader for them. I'm giving them the information that they need. I'm giving it to the way that they comprehend. If they need the micromanaging or the daily tasks, I want to give that to them. If they don't need it and they're self-motivated, I don't want to give that to them if it's going to demotivate them. So it's complex, and I'm kind of rambling here, but like what I was asking at the beginning is, what do you do? What do you do when you have these people that aren't living up to your expectations? What do you do? Do you make the hard choice? Do you start letting people go? Do you, what do you do? Like, do you stop having these certain expectations on these people? Like I said, I've dealt with this for a long time, and I'm getting better. But like at times, it's like, man, I go to work and it's like all day long, just inside burning me up, not happy, and that's not healthy for me either, right? So I try my leadership styles. I try to be very positive, very motivating. Try to bring everybody to the same page. Try to get the most out of everybody. But I'm starting to realize that maybe that's not possible. Maybe there's people that you come in contact with, that you're their leader, and maybe it doesn't matter what you do. Maybe they're gonna get to the place that they want to get to, and then that's it. In the car business, it's like your job, if you break it down as a salesperson, it's pretty simple. It's pretty simple. The first thing you got to realize is you're gonna fail more times than you win. You will fail more times than you win. You'll get told no more times than you get told yes. So if you can overcome that, then we're heading in the right direction, because you're gonna make outbound phone calls, texts, emails, talk to people on the lot, and they're gonna tell you no, not buying today. No, you don't have what I want. And it's rejection over and over and over again. And then finally you get the success. But most people, right, I think this is something that I'm finding out, and I've probably known for a while, but most people have a hard time dealing with that much rejection. And when they don't get the win, they start to mentally give up. If you're sitting at your computer and you're doing your follow-up and you're trying to reach out to everybody that you've been in contact with, and everybody's just telling you no, you're not getting anywhere. People aren't reaching back to you. People are saying you don't have what I'm looking for. No, I'm not ready to buy. No, the payments are too high. The price is not right. And then you have to come back and do it again tomorrow. That gets very difficult. And I think some people get into the car business that don't have that gene or that trait or whatever you want to call it that helps them push through. But also, I think it's possible that people decide they just don't care. I just don't care. Like, I don't mind the rejection. I know it's a thing. I'm okay with it. But I also know, like, at the end of the rejection comes the success. And I just got to keep going until I get it. And so, like, I'm a good like hunter. Like, I don't care. It doesn't matter. Like, I enjoy the game. I enjoy the process. But when you have somebody that's not that way, and you're, as a manager and a leader, trying to get these people to be this way, and you just can't, that's where the expectations, that's where the frustration comes in. Because you're trying to move the needle and you're trying to get somebody to be something that they're not. And I'm not saying that people can't overcome that and can't change. But one of the things that I've learned in life, the hardest thing in life is change. And if we are as managers and all we're trying to do is change people, it gets very frustrating because we're trying to do the thing that's the absolute hardest. Change an individual who is a grown adult, who has had habits, who has had, processes and all this stuff in place, and their expectations of themselves and their happiness and what they're okay with their results. And we're trying to force them to break those. It gets very, very difficult and very, very frustrating. So, what do you do? What do you do? Maybe you put hardline expectations for these people. Maybe you got to be more involved as the manager. Maybe you got to have daily conversations and daily check-ins. And maybe you got to really expect it. And when they're not achieving it, that's on them. And maybe this isn't the place. Maybe this job isn't the job. But to have those conversations and to keep going through, right, with these people and trying to expect more out of people when they're just not physically going to do it because they don't want to, nor do they care, what are you going to do? But at the same time, you have good employees that show up, do a great job, get good results, but they're not going to change, but they do great. And if you know that, you gotta remove your expectations, and you gotta remove your want to get them better when you know they're not going to get better, right? Because you do need people that just show up and do a great job, right? We need that. We need those people, and those people are very helpful, and those people, deserve a spot with you. But you have to detach yourself, knowing that, hey, I'm not going to be able to motivate these people. I'm not going to be able to get these people to do better. I'm not going to get these people to do it the way I want them to do it. They're only going to achieve, what their mind's allowing them to achieve. But if I just leave them alone, they'll do their job and they get good results. And I'm just going to be okay with that. And I'm going to detach my time from these people, and I'm going to give it to these people over here that are begging for it, and want to get better. And then this is an issue that I learned a long time ago, that when you're over here really focusing, trying to get these people better, and they just don't, and they're taking your time up, you got some people over here that really want what you're doing. They want all your time. They want all your, they want you to micromanage. They want you to motivate. They want you to hold them to higher expectations. They want you to train. They want you to do all this. And for whatever reason, those people, because they're self-sufficient, don't get any of your time. And when your time's spread out, you're kind of doing everybody a disservice. So if these people over here, in your heart that they're not changing, That no matter what you do, how you say it, they're not going to change. If you know that, you got two choices. If the results are good and they bring good to the place that you're working, and they're just consistently good, but you know that they're not going to get any better, just let them be. Just let them be. That's choice number one. Two, replace them. Those are really the only two choices, right? Stop spending so much of your time here. Okay? Not saying you don't need to talk to them, you don't need to, share things with them, but I'm just saying, like, stop having these expectations of these people getting so much better. You know in your heart if they're going to get better or not. You know that. Then you got these people over here that are begging for your time. They might not be telling you, but man, inside they're begging for it. Give these people all of your time. Give it to them. Give your time to the people who want it the most. Okay? Give it to them. You will start to feel better. You will start to be happier. The results of the store will actually start to go up because you're giving it to the people who actually want to achieve more. And I wish it wouldn't take me so long to understand this. And I think I've already knew it because when I was coming up selling cars, I was this person. I was the person that wanted to know everything. I wanted to be held to the higher standard. I wanted everything. And I just couldn't get it because I was self-sufficient. I was training on my own. I was getting better. And so they looked at it like I didn't need that. These people over here, though, man, they needed it because they were failing and they weren't living up to the expectations. And these people, kind of made the managers feel like, oh man, if I can't get you to do it, I'm failing, and we got to really spend the time. And they're trying to bring these people up to the same level as me and the others. It just never works. It never works. It never works. Never. Maybe once in a while, but hardly never, because this person, they have to make a choice. They have to change. They got to be willing to practice. They got to be willing to, dig into the fall. They got to be willing to go outside and get the customers. They got to be willing to turn those customers over to managers. They got to be willing to do some training. They got to be coming to you as a manager, asking you for help. And hey, I don't understand this. And they got to know their inventory. They got to know their product. They got to be motivated. They have to have a reason why they woke up today and came here. They have to have a reason. This person doesn't need the reason. They already have it. They're ready to go. Okay? They're ready to go every single day, and they just want to soak it up like a sponge. They're just begging for your help. They're begging for your help. So what person here? The rock that ain't changing, or the person that's got their hand open? They're like, just feed me everything. Teach me. I want to know everything. Make a choice today as a leader. Make a choice today as a leader where you spend your time, where your expectations are, okay? Now, again, I'm saying the whole store needs your love, for sure. They need your training. They need your love. They need the expectations. They need all of that. The whole store does, okay? But we know, and I know as a manager and a leader, that extra time that you give, you got extra time and you got frustration because you spend that extra time. Just make sure you're spending it on the right person. Okay? If you find yourself complaining about this person over and over and over and over again, and you never have to talk about this person, ever, you know where your time needs to be spent. You know. Start doing it today. And hopefully, if you're a salesperson, hopefully this freaking hits you right here in the heart. Hopefully it hits you right here in the heart, regardless of which one you are. If you're this one, go ask for the help. Raise your voice. Raise your hand. Go seek the help. I did it myself. Go seek the help. And if you're this person, maybe this video gets you right here, get you right there, maybe wakes you up. But if it woke you up, hopefully it wakes you up for more than 2 or 3 days, because that's normally what happens. You get a little spark over here, and it's like 2 or 3 days of motivation, and then right back into normal habits. So as a manager, Spend your time wisely. Give it to the ones that are wanting it and asking for it, and do something with it, okay? All right, guys. Hey, let's have a great day. Be happy. We're live. Blessed day today. It's cold outside. Talk to you later.
We all show up, but we ain't built the same. One's chasing glory, one's playing the game. One's got the gift, don't break a sweat. The other's out here grinding with nothing left. One wants the crowd, the lights, the fame. The other's in the dark, just building a name. One was born with it, one had to grow. One's got talent, one's got hustle.